Dan Mason is an expert in media training. The well-known British journalist and global media trainer is helping local journalists navigate the world of digital media. The facilitator of the day-and-a-half course, backed by the British High Commission, says the aim of the instruction is twofold. Mason stresses the importance of today's journalists being able to tell the story differently with the aid of digital mobile tools, especially in a time when audiences have migrated online and increasingly access information on mobile devices.
So it's those two things combined that make up the Change Your Story program. But here in the Eastern Caribbean, there's one more thing, is that this project, which was led by the High Commission to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, it's taken a year to get here, huge amount of logistics to bring us to this point. It's actually happened on 6 Caribbean islands, which is quite unique in my experience of training in 30 countries over the last 10 years. So what that has done has given us 80-odd journalists who have been on the programme, who can now network and collaborate on stories in the future.
The media landscape has changed dramatically, with the legacy formats of radio, television and newspapers struggling to keep up in the competitive race to capture eyeballs. The training will focus specifically on how to shoot and edit short video, image and audio-based stories. However, Mason explains the goal is to innovate, evolve and incorporate mobile and digital resources in storytelling while retaining the traditional values of journalism.
It's such a big challenge all around the world, new against tradition. How do we change for the best? We all know that we need to change somehow, but to be honest, often the pressures that we're under to get the job done make that very difficult. In lots of places, including here in St. Lucia and in the Eastern Caribbean, newsrooms are generally very small. There's not a lot of time to spare to try new techniques and develop new things. The key to it for me is always to look at the audience. Where is your audience? Where do they want to read or to view or to listen to what we're doing? What are they using to access the information? More and more they're using mobile for sure. A lot of people are using social media also. We don't really have a choice.
Apart from honing their skills and learning the technical know-how of various apps and social media handles, the participants are receiving helpful pointers on style points.
Almost I'm including in that now online media. It's almost a traditional media in its own right. So recognising that mobile is key to it, developing some slightly different techniques that can help reach people in different ways on mobile and so on, different ways of storytelling. So with video, for example, there are different styles of video, perhaps shorter video, perhaps explainer videos that combine normal kind of video shooting with text on top of the image and so on. There are new ways of trying to get the message across that can enhance those traditional messages.
Bridging the digital divide has not only been a challenge for mainstream media bosses while attempting to monetize new media, but older journalists and broadcasters racked by technophobia. But Mason says that's not always the case, especially for those who have the knack for storytelling and networking.
You would certainly expect, wouldn't you, that the older journalists are the ones that would find it most difficult to change. And I can tell you honestly, having worked in a lot of countries over the last several years, that it's not always the case, actually. What you often find is that older journalists, particularly those who come to training like mine that is digitally based, they recognise they've got to change. Actually, it's often older journalists who combine the traditional values. They really do understand how to tell a story, how to relate to people. And often they find it quite easy if they're shown in the right way and if they're using the right tools that are simple, easy to use.
The training exercise ends on Thursday, February 6, 2020. Winston Springer Jr., HTS News Force.